Hey guys, Maven here. Now, in wrestling, you have your good guys, your baby faces, and your bad guys, your heels. I would start my career as a baby face until in late 2004, I would turn heel and become a bad guy. In this video, we're gonna revisit that night, and I'm gonna pull back the curtain and tell you what it takes for a wrestler to transform their character, and I'm gonna fill you in on whether I preferred wrestling as a face or as a heel. So join me as we go back to November 29th, 2004, Monday Night Raw.
Every man for himself, you never know what's gonna happen.
I remember my heel turn as something I was looking forward to. Now, you might be asking, why was I excited for a change in character? After wrestling for years as a babyface, as the tough enough kid, I felt it had grown stale. It's great to be loved. It's great to be hated. Being irrelevant is the absolute worst place, the place that no wrestler wants to be, because being irrelevant means people do not care. And the moment people do not care, you find yourself in the unemployment line.
Dangerous situation. There's straight through. A low drop kick taking Granier's feet, thus eliminating Granier. And
We live in a different world in 2025 than we did in 2004. The character Eugene would, for lack of a better term, get people canceled in this world. But in 2004, that did not exist. So Eugene, Nick Dinsmore, who is one of the best wrestlers I've ever been in the ring with, pulled this gimmick off perfect. And the reason that the WWE chose Eugene to have me make my heel turn with is because who's not getting behind Eugene? Who is not going to get behind this gimmick?
hey, look out here. Look over. Eugene eliminating Maven.
That's a lot farther than it looks. With the cameraman on the ground with the handheld aiming up, it doesn't look near as high as it is. Remember, the ring is a few feet off the ground, and then obviously, once you're being tossed up in the air to clear the ropes, I mean, that's a pretty hefty drop. The padding is only about 2 inches thick, and it's enough to cushion your fall, but it's certainly not enough to save you from injury if you fall incorrectly.
Will you help me put this on?
Oh, that's cute.
Help.
So now you want my help. First you go out and you eliminate me from the Battle Royal.
So following my elimination from the Battle Royal, I would find myself in a backstage segment with Shelton Benjamin, Eugene, and William Regal. And obviously, I was not happy for how I was eliminated. And this would just help catapult my heel turn a little bit more. I would show and voice my displeasure, and William Regal would quickly put me in my place.
Title. I spell. Give me none. I spell.
I'll give you now. Knock it off. Doing, Twinkle.
Doing a pre-tape, doing anything with Regal was always extremely easy. And it was easy because I knew exactly how truly tough this man was. Whether he was calling me Twinkle or Sunshine, didn't matter. That man's legit.
So what if he threw you out? You'd have done the exact same thing, and rightly so. Now, do we have a problem?
Shortly after this segment, my transition would be complete, and I would have Eugene searching for a doctor or a local medical facility. And when you think about it, doctors and wrestlers, they're kind of similar. With wrestlers, the connection, it matters. Some you instantly click with, while others, not so much. And the same thing goes with doctors. The right fit, it can make all the difference. While in the WWE, I took my health for granted. However, wrestling took a toll on my body, and I now feel the effects every day. That's why my health has become more important to me than ever, and why I'm so glad this video is sponsored by ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors to find the one that feels right for you. You can filter by location, specialty, or appointment times. No endless phone calls, no guessing games. And with ZocDoc, you don't just see a name on a list. You get verified patient reviews and detailed profiles, so you actually know who you are booking with before you ever step foot in the office. So don't put off those appointments any longer and go to ZocDoc.com/Maven to find and instantly book a top-rated in-network doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Maven, and it's linked right at the top of the description. Now, this would mark the beginning of my heel turn, but I would find out what the writers had in store for me a few weeks earlier. Again, the Maven, the tough enough kid, that character had grown a bit stale. So a few of the writers came up to me and asked me what I thought of turning heel. We kicked a few ideas around, and I told him I was 100% on board. I loved the idea of being a bad guy, and the reason is because growing up, I always rooted for the bad guys. I was the one who loved and always thought the heels were the coolest. They just seemed like they were having the most fun, and I was all on board the moment the writers asked me if I was ready to turn. The writers would always deliver me a detailed script, word for word, how they wanted me to deliver lines. Now, that's not saying that they weren't good if I wanted to put a little bit of emphasis on specific words or omit other words. As long as I was staying pretty close to their copy, they were good with it. But it was different for other people. Kurt Angle, for instance, would take everything they gave him, commit it to memory, and deliver it perfectly. Whereas The Rock or Stone Cold or Undertaker, they would give them bullet points and they could deliver it however fit their character the best. Now, backstage segments such as this, it was about 50-50 whether they were pre-tapes done before the show or shot live. I'm pretty sure this one was done live, but simply because they needed the reaction after the battle royal. Once that red light comes on, you know it's go time. You have to perform. But I loved having opportunities like this. I wish I would have had more opportunities like this to show what I can do under a live setting.
Eugene with a stunner. And Eugene and Regal retain the tag title.
So fast forward to later in the same show, William Regal and Eugene have defended their tag titles against La Resistance. And Eugene getting the victory is doing what Eugene did, celebrating, bringing kids into the ring, and basically just having a good time. But would that last? Let's find out.
Oh, what? No! Wait a minute. What the? That's Maven. What the? Oh my God!
I remember being up in gorilla position before I would go out, and I was up there for the entire match. When La Resistance and Eugene and William Regal went up to get ready to go out for their match, I went right up the steps with them. Why? Because I had to be ready for this spot. I had people in gorilla position back where the monitors are who were giving me the exact moment they wanted me to go out through that curtain. And that's when it would matter the most, when interrupting kids celebrating with Eugene would be the most diabolical. Remember, when you're a good guy and you're changing over to a bad guy, you have to do something that is bad enough to warrant people hating you. And throwing Eugene into the steps, I always thought was a great way to become a bad guy.
I don't know why, but I like it.
Up until this moment, this was probably the night I had the most fun in my career. I know you're saying, but Maven, what about The Undertaker? No, that was completely stressful. This was when I thought there was going to be a new path charted forward for me. This was when I thought I could rewrite the ship. The instructions the writers and the producers gave me when I went out to do this was one word: aggression. They said when I pulled Eugene out, look mean, actually throw him into the steps. It would be up to Eugene to protect himself as I threw him into the steps, but make sure I threw him hard because it had to look devastating. It had to look good. It had to warrant people hating me as soon as it was done.
Well, I understand Maven's frustration, but my God, that was a little drastic, wasn't it?
Shawn Michaels might have been onto a little something when he used to give me a hard time about emulating The Rock and The Rock's mannerisms and movements, because that little head thing I did, yeah, that was probably a little Rock-esque. So you were right, Shawn. Following this show, which was in Baltimore, I remember actually being able to drive home that night and being on cloud nine, just feeling like I was rejuvenated, feeling like I had a second lease on my career, and feeling like the best things were truly yet to come.
And from Charlottesville, Virginia, weighing in at 225 pounds, Maven.
Fast forward to 1 week later, and I would have my very first match as a heel. Now, usually the heels are the ones that are leading the match. And since the heel, the bad guy, is going to be inflicting the damage on the good guy, he is the one in charge of pacing. He is the one in charge of timing out everything, making sure that if you have 10 minutes, you tell a 10-minute story. Or if you have 30 minutes, you tell a 30-minute story. The heel is kind of the one who is always in control. But is it the same when your heel has less experience? Well, let's find out.
Well, maybe Maven's had a change of heart. Eugene's buying it.
At this point in my career, Eugene, Nick Dinsmore, had so much more experience than I had. Nick was a veteran and a very knowledgeable vet at that. Even though I was the heel, the one that was supposed to lead the match, I would rely on my veteran, or in this case, Nick, to tell me exactly how to lead it. It's not how things are usually done, but in wrestling, you always listen to your veteran, even if your veteran's the babyface and you're the heel.
Come on, JR. Now who's that? Well, Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant.
The fans did not know I was a full-blown heel. I was supposed to come out, and I was given specific instructions from the writing staff and from the producers. I was told, look somber, look like you feel bad about what happened, how you behaved the week before. Look like you're gonna go out and try to make amends with Eugene. Full well knowing that at this point I was a heel. I had to play the role of the guy who just let his emotions get the better of him.
Maybe back down.
I don't think I've ever seen the game as angry as he is tonight. And justified himself. Wait a minute.
I had never done this move, this tilt-a-whirl pinning maneuver, up until this night. Nick and I, we actually went over this in the ring prior to this match. It's just it's just one of those moves that gets the crowd involved. It's fun to watch. In a wrestling match, the heel is always the one who gets out wrestled by the babyface. And this maneuver, obviously, Nick is just out wrestling me. He is the better wrestler. And that's just wrestling psychology.
Yeah, I want to get in on some of that party later on. Oh, look at that. Oh!
And here you have positive confirmation for anybody watching that I'm a bad guy. The moment we did the up and over and I go and hit the ropes, opposite side Eugene, but close to William Regal, and trip, fall on my face, I do it to get William Regal thrown out. Obviously, not something that a good guy, not something that a babyface would do. Definitely 100% a heel maneuver, because in essence, I'm cheating. Another tiny little heel tactic that I'm incorporating here is I'm keeping Jack Doan, the referee, in between me and William Regal. Why? Because heels are cowards. Of course, I'm going to keep somebody in between me and him. And you might be asking, but Maven, why is your back turned to Eugene? Well, the reason is because Eugene is the ultimate babyface. Having my back to him was not a concern at all.
Circumstance.
Back close.
I still remember that. Eugene, 2 times, that close, way to go. That still makes me laugh. That was on the fly. That I came up with right then. But Nick was perfect. Like, I knew Nick was the guy to do stuff like that with, because Nick, for as complicated as that character was, Nick played it perfectly. He was just the consummate professional.
Maven with a kick right to the patella.
And now, the time when, if you were questioning, is Maven a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he a babyface? Is he a heel? Now the time would come when I would erase all doubt.
Admirable sportsmanship, but, well, you know.
Right here is probably the first thing as a heel I would get a lesson on. Once you're a heel, once you're a bad guy and you turn the tables and you actually inflict pain on the babyface, you need to, and the way it was explained to me, set that heat in. I went to shake Eugene's hand, cheap shotted him in the knee, and as he's writhing in pain, I should have went over and did something. Kick the leg again, come over, pound him, give him some face shots, do something to just set the tone or set the heat in.
Now he's really referee got a count of 5. Referee's going to disqualify Maven. And that was a blatant disqualification.
By saying that was a blatant disqualification, that's telling everybody at home that I did this on purpose, that I'm now a heel. I am no longer that good, tough enough, hey, cheer for me. That guy, he's gone. He's not going to be seen here anymore.
Here comes William Regal back. William Regal coming back to intervene, and Maven deciding.
Once the match is over, once the disqualification has happened, back comes William Regal. Because, yeah, even though he's been kicked out, match is over. He can come back to the aid of his tag team partner. And again, in true heel fashion, the heel, the bad guy, they're the coward. So once Regal rolls in, I exit stage left and roll out.
And Maven's proud of himself.
And now you get the chant telling me that my job was done, but not because of just my actions. My job was done because of Eugene and the work of William Regal. I had made all those people start to hate me to the point where they're chanting Maven sucks. That was the best chant I had ever heard because I had done my job, the job of suspending people's belief. Now, my reaction backstage was kind of mixed. Obviously, when I went to the agents or the producers, they told me there were things I needed to work on, like obviously when I established the heat, make sure I set that in, and my timing was a little bit off on a few things. But for the boys, the wrestlers, they loved it, and all the feedback I got told me that I was on to something. And most important, when Eugene and when William Regal came back, they were happy with everything. We had a lot to do that night, but we told the story and they helped me transform my character. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. However, not everyone was a fan of my heel turn. In fact, one person dressed me down in front of everyone. And to find out who that was, watch the video on screen.